Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 18 of the Bourbon Banter podcast. With me, Mr. Bourbon. It's been a long time, man. COVID has kind of mashed up a lot of things in this year, man. So it's kind of prolonged a lot of things that I had lined up, but we're back. I'm going to continue it going. I've got a special guest today. Somebody. Not's legend, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Not's legend, man. Like, I remember when I was younger, seeing this guy spray bars, and I was like, yo, this guy. From legendary Nottingham group, out of Ville. In fact, let me introduce yourself, bro. It's one of them ones, man.
Yo, man, it's Karizma, innit? Like, at the Ville crew, original, like, 1997 times, when I came in the game. That's a long time ago. That's pre-Spotify, man. That's CDs and tapes. That's the kind of times I came in.
Wow.
Recording on actual reel to reel. That's how old school we are. You get me? Back to back at Marcus.
Yeah.
That's how old school we are. Okay, so I'm Karizma. I'm from out the Ville. I came through that camp. I learnt my craft there. I learnt my love of music and learnt to, spread that out further from there, man. Yeah, that's me.
No, that's big, man. No, on a level, yeah, I'm gassed because, like, I remember growing up, and I remember seeing Blood, Sweat and Tears by Out the Ville, like, on MTV Base.
Yeah, mad.
And I remember thinking, yo, these guys were sick. And I remember, like, at the time as well, like, in terms of lyricism and that, like, I don't think, not to sort of, like, downplay Nottingham Hip at the time, but from when I was young, I didn't really kind of see lyricism of that level, if that makes sense. For me personally.
Yeah,
like hearing you scores, like, I don't know, man, like the way you were putting together words was just absolutely wild to me. But I want to sort of like get into that at some point today, because that is literally like childhood nostalgia for me. Like,
more than
yeah, trust me. But first, I want to kind of like just kind of see, like, I mean, this year's been a bit of a mad one.
Yeah, it's been a bit. I don't know why it's been weird. I can't figure why it is, but it has been weird. I don't know what to figure what it is.
I can't imagine what it is. What is
I don't know. Nice long summer. Was that what it was?
You know what it is, like, I mean, you come across as quite a sort of optimistic, upbeat kind of guy. So obviously everybody knows like this year's been a bit of a mad one. So I guess like conversation I've had with people, it's kind of a glass half full, glass half empty
sure.
kind of scenario where some people have kind of like really hated it, and some people have been like, actually, like, you know what I mean, like there's some positives or whatever, do you know what I mean? So like, sure. How has this year sort of kind of, how's it treated you?
How's it treated me? I think there's been ups and downs and it has been balance. But you know what, I'll be honest, on balance, the disruption that's going on has allowed me personally to stop and look at my family rather than rush off to work in the morning and come back. I was furloughed for 3 months, so I literally got to be with my kids in the daytime, which is actually, as a dad, traditionally, I guess, even if you're both out at work, mum's a primary carer, so there's a different relationship with children, and dads play a slightly different role. Actually, to be able to see, when you go to work and you come back, like, what's been happening during the day, you see what's been happening during the day, and it goes like that. And to give me that insight into that's been beautiful, to see my kids do that and understand what my wife's doing more and understand how to run a house. So that actually helped massively with that. That's on a domestic level. Musically, it gave me so much time and freedom. As that literally every night, me and the mic, I've got no work tomorrow. Fantastic. And literally just before it, I dropped my hours at work to take every Friday off to do music. I was like, I've got to do this. And then like 2 days later, they were like, yeah, so you're furloughed now. And I was like, okay, so I'll just chop my money down. But you know what? Time is money. And it gave me time to hone my craft, enjoy myself, learn more, write more. So musically on balance, it's been great. Familiarly, like on a family level, it's been great. Personally, it's had its ups and downs. I find difficulties with like being told what to do. I struggle with that, like saying I can go out for how long a day, what I can't go, what miles. I'm not into that at all, and I don't think anyone is. So that's been difficult for me personally, but it's held a mirror up to my ego. And I think you've had to sit with yourself in this time. And a lot of people have found difficulty seeing them true selves. I found difficulty in it, but also used it to propel myself forward and go, okay, I know where I need to improve. I know what my difficulties are, and I've had time to stop and take stock. So on a deeper level, I think it's set me up nicely for the rest of whatever happens.
Yeah.
Even though it's been difficult and I've had face ache probably about 60% of the time, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But the other 40% has been positive, and that's actually outweighed it. It's weighted heavier. That 40%'s got a heavier weight than that 60%, I would say.
Yeah, I think like people now are starting to realise that sort of time is the most important commodity. It's more important than money.
Yep.
And I think because people are now thinking, well, actually, I can take less PE, have more time at home if I'm in that. Do you know what I mean? So people are starting to kind of really reevaluate the importance.
Yeah. Feed your soul.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I mean, I've not been feeling anything, but I've been working from home since March.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I've got 2 young kids, so like 2 and 45. My youngest is actually turning 3 today.
Oh, happy birthday to your youngest. Happy birthday.
Big up my like Gabe. But like it's one of the ones where you kind of start to see a lot more development, and and it's kind of, you see the kind of developments that you would kind of miss usually at work.
Yeah.
Like more time you might get like a video clip.
Yeah,
on your lunch break. Rushing the king. It's kind of like
you can actually see
certain things, and you can actually start to see like my youngest. He's developed so much in this. Like, he's gone from literally the whole year's potty trains to so much stuff. Things he's done.
Yeah,
it's come so much further forward, and I kind of think that I would have missed a lot of that. And I kind of think with us both being at home a lot more, I kind of think would that development have been
would it have been as ready? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of like, as it's pros and cons. You know what I mean? I guess like what I disliked was kind of being home in the sense where like my day's not really broken up that much because it's home. Yeah,
that you know when you go from work to home and you've got that bit of time to yourself where you can D-roll from work to home.
Yeah.
That D-roll is now 16 steps.
Yeah.
From the top of the stairs to the bottom of the stairs, isn't it? When it used to be a good half an hour, 45 minutes where you could just switch off and switch back into roll. So that takes its toll.
I had to sort of retrain the way I count my routine as well, because I was going through a couple of days, I hadn't even left the yard. I worked. By the time I finished work, I'm tired of the kids. I want to spend time with the kids. And then literally, it was like days. I was like, "Yo, I'm barely even leaving the yard." So I had to sort of like trying to kind of retrain myself and refocus in that. But I don't know, man. It's been a weird one. Do you know what I mean? It's like certain things have been a bit of a struggle, but certain things have been good. Like I know, like sort of growing my hair out. Like I didn't realize I had so much hair.
There you go, man. Thank you.
Yo, this is what I'm saying, man. Say like, but now I'm having to like. Because before I used to sort of like just keep it off low, really, just do it myself. But now after that to get trims as well.
Man.
Listen, and barbers, listen. The golden age of barber prices, gone. Like I'm seeing now, like barber trims like 20 quid.
What?
Yo,
trim.
Listen, I'm telling you now, if you can get a trim for like back in the day, like 10 all in.
10 at the most.
You know what I mean? At the most.
Yeah.
I'm back in the day, used to be like 7, 8.
That's with an appointment.
Yeah.
£10, you get me?
But now literally like it's literally minimum like 16, 17 to 20 quid.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Well, inflation will do that. Inflation will do that.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So it's kind of like
you know
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm at home shavers, mate, to the end.
Yo,
That's
listen, I'll miss that now.
I'll go barbers if I go for a trip. If I've got a gig, that's it. Otherwise, I'm sorry, barbers, man. Like, time is money.
Yo, listen, I didn't realise. I remember when I went in for my first trim from lockdown. I remember just bopping in and then just looking at the price board. I was like, "Raw, is that for like 3 trims or is
I
that?"
know, man. But they've got to make up what they've lost, haven't they?
It's very true, man.
Everyone's
and I hear certain man were like, certain barbers were doing like special sort of like home trims, like throughout time, innit? Yeah, and they're charging like £40-50.
Wow.
Yeah, like
some people must really need that trim. But a trim makes you feel different when you walk out of the barber. When the barber's niced you up,
I know.
You know that you went in at 8 and you came out at 10.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So actually, what are you paying for the trim, or are you paying for that little couple of days before it all goes out?
It's true. It's the vibe, innit? I remember. Listen, I remember when I got my first trim from lockdown,
Yeah.
I literally took a picture of myself, sent it to my wife, said, "You're welcome."
There you go.
Do you know what I mean?
There you go.
And she
Exactly.
messaged me back.
There you go. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. There you don't go.
She knew it, and she knew.
She knew what it
When
was.
I came in, she was like, "Oh, that looks nice."
Do you know what it was? She was speechless. There's nothing more she could add to
That's
it.
what
A
I'm.
picture painted 1,000 words.
Yeah, that's
That's what it was. That's what I should need to say.
yeah. No, that's exactly what I've taken it as. So like, obviously now, like, well, Thursday we've heard now it's like lockdown. Well, it's curfew now, innit? So it's kind of everything's locked off.
Well, I hope we finish at 11:45.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what I think to that. It's more rules, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's throwback from being parented, as we all have been.
Yeah.
But I'm not really feeling being parented. I'm a
Yeah.
big man and I've
Yeah.
got 3 children and a mortgage. Don't tell me what time I can go out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
No, it's
true.
true.
It's probably my ego talking.
No, for real, I feel that way as
You're
well.
like, what are you talking to?
No,
Like,
no, it's true.
What do you mean I can't go out?
So you know, back in the day when your parents saying you were kind of like, you wanted to say certain things,
Yeah.
and there's certain kind of like gaps in their arguments.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're kind of like, you know what? Let me just not even say.
Yeah,
anything.
when I'm 18, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But
now I'm 18 plus, I'm still good.
Yeah.
So your 10 o'clock is lovely to hear. It's a really nice round time, but I'll see you at midnight.
Yeah. And now it's
That's what I
like,
feel
that's what I'm
like.
saying. Now it's like, I'm 35 with a beard.
Yeah.
Fam, what are you telling
Yeah,
me?
yeah,
about
exactly,
that? Do you know what I mean?
exactly,
I've got
exactly.
crazy in my beard now.
Exactly.
Like, you could have told me about
That's what I'm
when I
saying.
leave my
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I hear
There's a
you.
lot of that, but actually, again, that's if you look at it on a deeper level, that's like the inner child fighting the parent, and it never leaves you, even at age 39 or 35. Is it that little bit of rebellion, like you can't tell me what to do, and actually they can.
It's true.
Like this thing.
It's true as well.
It sort of can.
And you kind of resentful as well, because at least with your parents, you're like, alright, I'm
Yeah.
angry at you, but
you
I-
raised
I-
me.
And then I still can get some snap at the
Yeah,
weekend,
yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
exactly.
Some jerk chicken or something.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Morrison giving me a down for you.
He's giving you quiche meat.
Greg sausage roll.
Greg sausage roll meat. That's your lot. There you go. Put some ketchup on it. Happy Christmas and a candle. Nah,
No, for real.
yeah, not about
So
it.
like, this year, so have you kind of, because obviously it's been a minute since you sort of dropped something, innit? Like in terms of
Yeah, it's been about 9 years.
yeah. So it has been a minute.
It's been a minute. You know, it's been a minute times 60 times 24 times 365 times 9, whatever that might be. I bet my son can work that out in about 8 seconds.
You know, it's joking. Yeah, for real. I saw this thing on Twitter. It was basically about black people's terms of measurement,
Yeah,
and it was basically like when someone says a minute, that could be a minute, an hour,
yeah,
a year,
yeah.
10 years, a decade.
It's infinite in its possibilities, mate.
Yeah, I'm gonna
It
say
really
like,
is.
oh, the other day.
Yeah.
He said the other day could mean the other day,
It really could.
the other year.
From 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been
9 years. It's been 9 years, and that was the Bad Boy tune, which I did with
Yes.
a producer called Starkey, who I
remember
found
that
on SoundCloud, and Ski Man showed me the beat. I was like, "What? That's crazy!" Wrote this thing to it, sent it to him, and he was like, "Yo, that's sick. Let's put it out." And that was the last thing I did. It was released. That was like at the time of that, I was doing a lot of hosting of dubstep shows, so that 140 tempo was like my heartbeat. Do you know what I mean? I loved it, but then I took a hiatus, man. I was just like, I had a few years of why am I still doing it? Do I really want to be still in nightclubs at my age with kids and a mortgage? I don't want to be doing gigs at 2 till 4 in the morning. Not really. I don't want to do that. Where do I fit? So there's a lot of internal questioning. There's a lot of going, I don't want to do music anymore. I'm not interested. Not being sure whether I could, and all that kind of thing. A lot of self-doubt. But also a lot of reality, like marriage, children, mortgages, job, you know, keeping a roof over your head. Then reality is this sinking, and that time there gave me all what I can write about now. So although it was 9 years out, I did little bits and pieces. It felt like it was supposed to happen, because you can continually put music out and never actually grow as a person. So not growing as a person to me is not an option, because I'm just like, we're not here to. I can't still be doing the things I did at 20 at 39. It literally makes no sense whatsoever. Your growth of mindset has got to be behind it all. So that's what I spent. I guess I spent the last 9 years doing, growing as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a thinker, as a musician, as a just trying to grow in that way and not be like I'm growing, everyone look at me growing, just like I'm growing, and I'll see you when I see you.
Yeah, and I guess like when you do start growing, then your music will start. If your music is authentic, then it will start to, will start to reflect your life.
Yeah, it expands with you.
And I think, but I'm all for that though. I think some people are like, oh, I don't want people to kind of be talking about like growing up things.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
It's like, but when you think about like, for example, like if you listen to like Jay-Z's 4 for 4 album, that was like
growing
him
people talk,
talking about like family life, about I know black ownership, and just like get-togetherness and like investments and stuff and things like that. So it's kind of like, as a man, that's like. I mean, Jay-Z's what, 50?
He's getting there.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I don't really want to hear Jay-Z talking about slanging out in the corner.
Yeah, money.
It's kind of like, doesn't make any sense.
Very odd.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very odd.
It's kind of, because even like, there's some artists that like, obviously, you love from back in the day, but it's like, nah, you hear people like, it's distance, I do like, still like Cameron, but it's kind of like, him like, it seems like he's a Peter Pan kind of guy. Yeah, it's kind of like, you would. I hear some detractor like, fam, like you saying that 20 years ago, and it's like you're like in your 40s, like nicely. Yeah, it's kind of like as much as I like, it's kind of I do like it, but it's kind of like I would like to see a little bit of growth.
Yeah, it's nostalgic, innit?
Yeah.
If I hear Cam spit a fire verse, it will remind me of when I heard Cam on a DJ Clue tape in 1999, and it will hark me back to that because it's attached to something.
Yeah.
But in context, as knowing that I'm not the same person I was in 1998, but they're selling a product.
Yeah.
And the product can, one of my concerns is the product can pigeonhole you. And we're not to be pigeonholed, we grow, we're ever growing. Like, think about the cells in our body, ever growing. So how can you as a person just stay stagnant the whole time? For me, in my personal opinion, that doesn't work for me, and I like to see growth. We've got kids; you love to see them developing. Look at the rate they develop; it's mad,
rapid,
absolutely rapid. So, why should that stop just because you're older? Do you know what I mean? Why should you wonder for things and your sense of like, oh, can I learn more or can I do more? Why should that stop because you're old? It shouldn't. I think you should do that, but like I said, everyone's got their lane. And if that's their lane and that's what people want to do, I've got no qualms with that. But me personally, I want to do stuff that I feel like I missed, like learning an instrument and learning to sing. I missed all them things, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I can do it now. Well, I didn't miss it. I just chose to do other things, and I can still go and do that. So yeah.
Tell me about like back in the day.
Yeah.
When you started actually rapping.
Yeah.
Like when how old were you and what sort of, when did you kind of realise that, okay, this is my kind of thing, like I can actually do this? Because everyone thought they could rap, or
you know
what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, when did you actually realise that actually, like, I can actually do this and I'm actually like...
That's a good question, you know. I've always enjoyed, I guess my writing stuff for me stems with reading. So if I tell anybody about rapping, like read some books, go and learn some stuff, I ate the dictionary, I love that. So I was always loved playing with words. When I was about 10, I remember winning this poetry competition from my school, and we won like 10 Archimedes computers or something, and stayed in the holiday in Marble Arch or something like that. And that I knew then I could write something that would move somebody. That's when I knew that bit. Obviously, you don't know yourself at 10. You've got your own image. But the first thing I did was I wrote a rap for this girl at school, and she was like, "Oh, can you rap me rap? I go to this studio." I was like, "Yeah, no problem." So I wrote this rap. She went to the studio and rapped it, and Trev was like, it was Trev, COS, he was like, "You didn't write that." Tell me you wrote that and bring him here.
Yeah.
So I went in, and that's how I started. That's when I saw Trev. So I think I was maybe 15 at that age. So, and when that happened, when it was like not just your mates going, "Yeah, that's good, that is," but actually somebody in the community seeing a talent and doing something with it, that's when that sort of gave me an idea of what was going on. When I really knew I could do it, because I'm going around the bush now. I'm telling you a life story as opposed to the answer. I guess it was when I was in out of Ville, because we would do shows and people would go, that was shit. Because I remember being booed off twice when I rapped. Once at the Marcus Garvey Christmas party when I was 12. Oh, went on, yeah.
Savage.
12 years old, mate. It was savagery. And then again at After Dark when I was about 13. And the thing is that there's man that were there. The thing was, I wasn't known. I wasn't about. You get what I mean? So I was just an outsider spitting some bars, and everyone's territorial at that age, really territorial.
Yeah, and I bet it's one of the ones where it's like they're not even before you even step on that stage.
Yeah,
they're not
listening.
interested.
Yeah, like, I don't know you.
Yo, boom!
Yeah. Straight away. So I think coming out of that at like 12, 13, being a bit like deflated, but like, actually, fuck you, I'm going to carry on anyway. It's a little bit of that, like, it's a bit like the Boris thing, like, don't tell me out, don't boo me, I'm fucking great.
Yeah, I'm serious.
I'm going to show you I'm great later on. I might not be brilliant yet, but I'll get there.
But I'm going to be there, I'm going to get there.
And it's really interesting that it sticks with you all them years, but that was the catalyst. So it's like, right, I know all these people that were booing in that space, filter on 5 years later, they're not booing anymore. They go, no, that was live. So somehow development has changed the perception, and I think at that point when those young people, because we were all young people at the time in their groups, I'm pretty much alone. I'm an only child. I used to go out to town on my own, and I'll see you where I see you, and I'll go home on my own. That's my style. So I wasn't in a big group of friends. So standing on my own and doing that and going through that journey was what showed me I could do it. It was like, how do you dig in and get something done? That's what showed me I could do it. Yeah.
So how old were you when you joined Out of Ville?
I was 15.
15.
I was still in school. Yeah.
How did that collective come together?
Well, that was because of CRS. That was Trev.
Yeah.
He was already working with Lee Ramsey.
Yes.
And Temper. Mate.
Lee Ramsey.
Mate, when
he was hard.
Oh, mate, I saw Lee for the first time in Sneinton when I was about 13, and he did a set, and I was just like, what the hell?
Something else, man.
I was just like, wow, that is doable. And then before I know it, I'm at the same studio as him.
Yeah.
And then he had Scores there, and he had Temper there already. Scores is something else. They're all something else. And we were sort of all people that went to studio and used that facility. And Trev was like, this can work.
Yeah.
And obviously Simone as well. I went to school with Simone. So I went to school with Simone. It's beautiful lady. Beautiful lady, beautiful soul.
Yeah.
Beautiful lady. I had a cushion at school as well.
Yeah.
Down. I'm not going to lie. Said, nah, mate, not feeling it.
Yeah.
Keep us putting it out there.
Yeah. I hear that.
And yeah, obviously Nick and Trevor were there, and they worked between them, and you could see they spot talent. You know, Jar Digger, Two Tone, Young T and Bugs there. A million names those guys are spotted. So those guys know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know what sound and they know what talent there is out there. So yeah, I was about 15 when that happened, and that's how it all came about.
So, Blood, Sweat and Tears, how old were you when that came out?
That came out in 2001, so that makes me 20. So I'd been with the crew for 4 years at that time. That was the second to last thing, I think, maybe third to last EP we put out. Yeah.
So you were about 20 when you wrote that verse?
I was about 19 when I wrote that verse, maybe 18, 19, yeah.
Bro, like, I remember hearing that track, and I remember like hearing your verse. I was like, how the hell did it? I'm tired of age. I realised my eyes are razor blades. I was like, how are you even coming? Like, I remember thinking like, how the hell did you even come up with stuff like that at that age? I remember when I was like young.
Yeah.
I was thinking this kind of blew my mind.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing to hear that it can impact someone like that.
And like Scores as well. I was just like, come on, these guys are just literally like actually putting words together something like differently.
Yeah.
And I remember at a young age, just like having that on repeat, and the beat was just hard. I remember seeing it on MTV Bass. I remember just getting gassed thinking, yo, these people are from Nottingham. Do you know what I mean? It was just like a big moment, man. Especially when obviously the scene was so heavily dominated by London.
It was so solid.
UK.
It was smashing it, right? And that was the nature of the beast, and it was really nice to poke your head through that and go, actually,
What was it like back then? Like, can you think back to like what was it? Because obviously you started to kind of see yourself at MTV Base and like momentum was building. Like, did you ever think that you would actually get that far? Or even
I had no expectation whatsoever. I just used to have a beat and write, and then what would happen. And I think I never had like I'm going to be a star ambition. Look at the range. I was just like, you know what I mean? I was just like,
look at the range.
Look at the range. I was just like, I need to create for my soul's purpose. And I love words, and I love writing things that make people think, and things that people might take 2 weeks to work out what I was talking about. 2-week raps I used to call them.
Yeah.
That's what I love doing. So I had an opportunity to do it.
What you were talking about.
There you go. It's not straight away, is it?
Is that razor blades?
Yeah. Why is that the case?
Why is he tired of age?
I know, right? What is wrong with that guy?
Yeah, trust me. Even now I'm looking like, some gems in there that you kind of miss and stuff.
Yeah, and
light years ahead of your time.
Well, you know, whatever gift I was given, I was able to put it on there, and if it impacted people, that's the beauty of it. And it's not like now where you find out straight away from a comment. It's like 20 years later, someone might go, "Oh, you're from Ville. I remember hearing you on da 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 da." There was no instant feedback there, so actually your purpose was different. Now your purpose, as much as you might have come, I might have come from that. Now when I'm putting music out, I'm looking at numbers and how many people listen and how many shares, and you that wasn't a thing back then. It was about the art, and the art was it. And now you've got more to do. And it's at a different pace, and you just adapt or die and move with the times. But at that time, it felt more innocent because you were doing it for the art, and then the art would go out and people would consume the art, and you might be lucky enough to be in the same room as those consumers of those art, or you might just go back to school or college or work, and then you might get to go to studio again, and it might happen again. I didn't have a path. I'm not a very planned person. I'm just like, oh yeah, cool, I'll write to that. Yeah, nice one. It's only now I'm realising actually plans are quite useful.
Yeah. Because I guess cause now just to get to you've released a track now after a while.
Yeah.
And how have you found it sort of adjusting to today's way of releasing music and how people sort of receive and digest it?
Yeah.
I guess coming from myself being a old school man guy anyway, I remember what it was like back then, and we were speaking before about picking up a CD and that CD you brought, you sat with it for a while.
The whole time,
for a while.
Yeah.
And until another CD came out. And obviously these times as well, like artists were just dropping albums every now and again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't regular.
No, and it was kind of like your favourite artist would probably drop something, and then you sit with that for a while, and then someone else would drop. But now I guess everything's so sort of fast tracked. Back then it was kind of like it was just a different sort of way of how you even viewed music and how you received it. And
very different time. It's pre-internet, so there might have been internet about, there might have been MySpace or whatever, but the majority of people were still consuming physically. I was watching this. I've got a valid point to make, I promise. So I was watching this video and it said in the year 2000, 533 million records were sold, like actual physicals. Yeah. 6 years later, that had halved. So by 2006, that had halved. So the consumption of physical products is just going down anyway.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5 sold the same amount in 2 days as when it came out as records that were sold in 2006.
Oh wow!
In 2 days, so the whole year of records and 2 days of Grand Theft Auto. So we're moving to a completely different era, and what I didn't understand the ins and outs necessarily so much, because to be fair, that was a Trevor thing. Trevor got it on vinyl. I never went and pressed the vinyl, or I went to the studio and gave my vocals and shared time with Ville, and that's what I did. So now you have to be a bit more self-sufficient, and actually, what I feel we have to be now to be artists that are promoted is what London were doing then, which is being self-sufficient. They had their photographers, they had their writers, they had their own blogs, they had their own newspapers, they had their own record labels, and it was London-centric because they did it themselves. Yeah. Now everyone's got to do that sort of individually in some sort of way. Yeah. So London are light years ahead of us, just because that's the fabric of how they've had to do things. Yeah. And that's what that's meant is though we have sort of more time for the art.
Yeah.
So we had more time to hone our art, and now we're catching up to the business side. In 10 years' time, it will all level out, I think, and everybody will be in the same place. But starting again 9 years later is a whole new game. Whole new game. People just want it now, and our generation might want to listen to a whole album from beginning to end. But there are 2-3 generations after us that don't. They don't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So our market, my market might be 25-year-olds to 45-year-olds, 50-year-olds. That's my era. That's the kind of music they'll be into. The youngers don't want to listen to whole albums, really, that I see. They want to pick out a tune and listen, and most people just want it on the go, put a playlist on, done, and walking. So we put a lot of time into this art, but actually the consumer doesn't put anywhere near as much time into that 3 minutes and 8 seconds. That 3 minutes and 8 seconds took you 20 hours, maybe to whittle it down to that. Yeah. And I find the focus is so much now on how many people have listened to it and how popular I am and how many streams I have. You sort of diluting the art if you spend too much time wavering over too much to that side. So it's good to have like art time, I think, and then promo times. It is music business now. For as a youth, it was music. Trevor was business. Now I am music and business, and I have to learn both and understand the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, because thinking about it, when I think back to how it was then and how it is now, in terms of there's a lot more emphasis on how you engage people to receive it.
Yes.
And then you build up this big suspense, and then what's received is kind of just dies down after a while.
Does, yeah.
It's because there's so much emphasis put on the build up.
Yeah, none on it's out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even now, in terms of how people are releasing music now, how even songs now, literally, see some albums, the songs are about a minute and a half, and like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's because people's attention span
too short.
Is too short. Like I remember back in the day listening to like Triumph,
Tang,
like 6 minutes.
6 minutes and 27
good
seconds.
6 minutes. I listened to all of that bad boy.
Back to back.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Purple Rain's 8 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's people's attention spans now just aren't the same, and I think they just kind of just gravitate to different aspects of what we did.
I think that's an interesting point. Do you know? I don't think people's attention span is shorter. I think if you look at it like this, if you imagine a diagram, where your attention span's a circle in the middle, and all the things that are going around the world are around the outside, like 2 concentric circles. I think what's happened over time is all the things going around you has made that attention look smaller. It's actually the same size. There's just more things going around. It's just perspective. Yeah. So like we've got instant everything now. Messenger, WhatsApp. Oh my God, someone's messaging me. I've got to answer straight back. I've been DM'd. What was that in the day? It was a pager. It was if I had airtime on my phone, you might be able to contact me. It was I'll speak to you at the phone box at I'll meet you in town at Now it's everywhere you are, in the toilet, well gone, what you say, what you do, what you're up to, washing your dishes, there's messages coming in. So there's so much, there's an influx of information. So it's no wonder the attention span seems shorter, because your days are actually filled with more interruptions. Way more. Unless you turn your phone on Do Not Disturb, your day is bare looking at your phone. How many times do you unlock it a day? If you look at that stuff, that's mad. Now, we didn't have to worry about that when we had sneaks on our phone.
You can kick the ringtone.
You get what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or like your polyphonic ringtones where you could make your own on the 3210. Remember them ones?
Yo,
them ones there.
Blue.
Yo,
Bolt Blue.
Them ones there.
Yo,
so I think it's just that the world is different and it's moved on. And 50 years ago, before when we were younger, it was slower still, and that's just the progress of the earth. That's how progress works. So you've got to do different things to catch people's attention, and there's so much data about what is doing that. The answers are there of how to do it.
Yeah.
The answers are there. It depends if you want to pay attention or not.
Yeah.
Or just go, this is my art, I'm putting it out, who will find it will find it at the end. Or this is my art, this is the market I want for my art, I want to monetize it this way, how am I going to do it? Two different mindsets, none of them are wrong.
Yeah. And I think, we were speaking before about knowing what your lane is, and there's nothing wrong with sort of like branching out and stuff, but I think it's important to sort of understand as an artist that not everybody is going to like what you put out.
Really important.
And if you try and trying to grasp everybody, you're just never gonna be satisfied.
Impossible, yeah.
You know, if you've got sort of a certain fan base or a little following or whatever, and they really dig what you're doing, you know, if you then try to sort of, not saying you shouldn't experiment, but it's kind of like, you know, some people really jump out the window sometimes. And
to try and fit into something.
Yeah, and then it's like,
oh no, you broke your legs now, what a shame.
Yeah.
And now you got to come back upstairs. How are you going to do that?
Yeah, it's like when I see, no, for real.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like when I hear like some older artists and they try and make songs to attract the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't sound good.
No.
And the kids don't like it because like, who's this old man thinking?
Yeah, by his Uncle Steve.
You know what I mean? And
big spitting again.
So that's what I'm saying.
Sit down, Uncle Steve.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You're on there like in some skinny jeans with your Steve Harvey mustache, and it's like you don't really, you know what I mean?
It's not a combo.
It's not. It doesn't really work. So it's kind of like if you've got like, and then the people that have followed you from day one, they're like, yo, fam, like, what the hell is this? Like, we don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I think that some artists, it's kind of like when you've been in the game for a while, it's like, all right, cool. Well, I've had the cult following for a while. Like, I should satisfy my base.
Yeah.
And those, because when you think about it, you know, your fans grow with you.
Yeah, of course.
So people aren't trying to hear like what you did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like now, if that makes sense.
That's
or try and
try
and attract
the
younger kids.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like I don't want to hear like a legend like using heavy autotune.
Yeah,
like,
that's not necessary.
I just don't.
Who did that? I think Smokey Robinson did something like that recently. Now, you know, a legend like that, trying to appeal to a specific age set, and all power to them for trying it. But like, your ability tells you your path.
Yeah.
And your audience. What are you trying to do? Like,
yeah.
What's your aim? But at the same time, do you always have to have an aim? Can't you just experiment? Isn't it just art?
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with experimenting.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of like it needs to be authentic. It needs to be okay. I'm doing this because I want to, not because this is what I think the sound is.
I see what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because some
that's
people
a good point.
do it because they think that is a sound.
Yeah.
And then the thing about the sound is, you know, it can often change.
It can.
Whereas I think traditional sort of like the mecca, like the basis of let's say hip hop, for example.
Yeah.
It's timeless.
Yeah.
Because you can always go back to like, that's how it used to sound.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when things will obviously adapt, will sort of grow and evolve.
Yeah.
But I think there's certain trends that come and go.
Yeah.
And if you then try to jump on every sort of thing, because things didn't age well. Like think about snap music and stuff like that. Like that's
it's
like that.
It was great in 2008.
Yeah, for that year.
Yeah,
like, ringtone
fantastic.
music
Yeah,
kind of thing.
awesome.
If you then like try to jump into that heavily, bro, that's a do stain on your catalogue because it's like looking back on reflection. It's like, what the hell is that? Like, you've kind of like jumped into that because you thought that was a hot thing. But really, you could have just kind of just done with what you kept on with what you're doing. And just continued on. But if, again, there's nothing wrong with experimenting.
There isn't.
It's just about the reasons why you're experimenting.
I think the reason behind an artist's reason for experimenting is twofold. One, it's because why not try it, and two is ego. So everything is like, I want to be relevant. I want to be relevant to the masses. The masses love this, and I want to be relevant to the masses. And my ego needs massaging, so I'm going to do that to fit in. And as soon as you let go of that and go, some reason I've got this art and this creativity channel within me, I'm going to channel it in a way that helps me and helps other people. I think that's a different way of looking, and that's the way I think it runs through me. Like, I've been given the pleasure of being able to do this. How can I improve somebody's day with it in 3 minutes and 8 seconds? That's my thought process. I see it like a service, which is very weird, but art is a service to most people. Like, you can remember where you heard the song, or a song can make you feel a certain way, and I think that's really important to do that. And like, without feeling, for me, I can tell when something's not done without feeling. Sorry, not done with feeling. It feels empty. It feels like a cube made of perspex that you can see through with nothing in it. It's just a lovely shape. It's really shiny, but it's empty, and it doesn't mean anything. And I need some soul in what's been said, or some reality in it. And that's what I try and feed myself sometimes. And that's what I want to give. I want people to listen and feel warm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's just my personal angle on it. And art is so varied. It's really hard to pigeonhole and say why someone's doing something. It's up to them. But like, people are gonna like it. Some people aren't gonna. And the biggest thing is to just realise, just do your art because you love it, and don't try and chase numbers, because what are they really?
Yeah. I think that when you do things which are music, which is feel good,